जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा कालाचंजी राधा कालाचंजी राधे। जय राधा गोविंद राधे। जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम, जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम। जय जय जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ, Baladev Jaya Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Gaura Premanande Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. We are reading today from Canto 8, Chapter 15. The chapter is entitled Bali Maharaj Conquers the Heavenly Planets. And we were requested to read text 28. Canto 8, Chapter 15, and text is 28. Sri Guru Vacha. Janami Magavan Chatror Unnate Rasya Karanam Shishyo Yo Prabhatam Tejo Bhrugubhir Brahma Vadibhi. Sri Guru Vacha Janami Magavan Chatror Unnate Rasya Karanam Shishyayo Prabhritam Tejo Bhrugubhir Brahmavadibhi. Unnate Rasya Karanam Yopabritam Tejo Karanam Shobho Prabharam Tejo Bhrugubhir Brahmavadibhi. Sri Guru Vacha Janami Magavan Chatror Unnate Rasya Karanam Shishyayo Pabritam Tejo Bhrugubhir Brahmavadibhi. Sri Guru Vacha Janami Magavan Chatror Unnate Rasya Karanam Bhapritam Tejo Bhrugubhir Brahmavadibhi. Translation. Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, said, O Indra, I know the cause for your enemies becoming so powerful. The Brahmana descendants of Bhrigumuni, being pleased by Bali Maharaj, their disciple, endowed him with such extraordinary power. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, informed Indra Ordinarily, Bali and his forces could not achieve such strength, but it appears that the Brahmana descendants of Bhrigu, being pleased with Bali Maharaj, endowed them with such spiritual power. In other words, Brihaspati informed Indra that Bali Maharaj's prowess was not his own, but that of his exalted Guru Shukracharya. We sing in our daily prayers, Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado, Yasya prasadan nagati kutopi. By the pleasure of the spiritual master, one can get extraordinary power, especially in spiritual advancement. The blessings of the spiritual master are more powerful than one's personal endeavor for such advancement. Narottam Das Thakur therefore says, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittete Kariya Ekya Arana Karihe Mana Asha. Especially for spiritual advancement, one should carry out the bona fide order of the spiritual master. By the Parampara system, one can thus be endowed with the original spiritual power coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Rajaraso Vidu. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sri Padantikam. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, thank you all for joining us for today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. It's for my pleasure, or rather my purification, that I take this service to speak something. Otherwise, I have no qualification to speak in front of such great Vaishnavas assembled here. When I read this chapter, I thought I would speak on a central theme of this particular pastime, as what we just, I would like to underline this particular statement which Prabhupada mentions in the purport, that the blessings of the spiritual master are more powerful than one's personal endeavor for such advancement. So that's kind of the theme I wanted to speak on. Before that, I just wanted to share a few points that I think will help us build this theme. As we know, this particular canto, the 8th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, describes the various manus we all know that one cycle of Lord Brahma, one day of Lord Brahma's life, which is just sunrise to sunset, and this similar night time comprises of 1,000 cycles of the what we call as Kali Yuga, Satya Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Satya Yuga. And these 1,000 cycles of one day of Lord Brahma have been divided into 14 divisions, or which are called as Manvantaras. And each Manvantara has 72 cycles of this Kali Yuga, what we call as Kalpa. And in each cycle, in each Manvantara, there is a distinct set of personalities who serve the Lord in certain ways. And there is a specific Manvantara avatar. This particular pastime happens in the current Manvantara, which is Vaivatsa Manu. And the beginning of the canto explains how there is a particular responsibility for each position that is awarded. The Manus, the Indra, it's a position. The Saptarishis, the Manvantara avatar, like that. And this particular Vaivatsa Manvantara, we are currently in the 28th cycle of out of the 72 cycles of the current administration of this universe. We are in the 28th cycle, and it also happens to be the most fortunate cycle because it is just in one day, that is in one day of Lord Brahma, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears only once. So out of 1,000 cycles, it happens only once that a Kali Yuga is blessed with the opportunity to go back to the spiritual world. Otherwise, Kali Yuga is meant for damnation, not for reclamation of the souls in that sense. But because Lord Chaitanya appears and gives us a very easy way to go back to Godhead, that particular cycle becomes extremely fortunate. And we should definitely consider ourselves very fortunate that despite being born in Kali Yuga, we have an opportunity. We are born in that Kali Yuga which is the most fortunate, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. And that's where we start to begin our appreciation of the mercy that we have received. Like, imagine in the vast ocean of time and space, we were given this opportunity to be in the right place at the right time. It definitely means that probably we had some desire, or the Lord wanted us, the mercy of the Lord came to us through the spiritual masters, either of the two. But in any case, there is a great fortune. And some of the pastimes, the other thing I wanted to share was all the pastimes that we read in the Srimad Bhagavatam, they are actually just the narration of the Lord's incarnations in one day of Brahma. This particular day of Brahma that we are, experiencing, which is the 28th cycle out of the 1,000 cycles. That's why we can relate to this point when we hear that Anantashesha with his 1,000 mouths can never do justice to the various pastimes of the Lord, because we are just given privy to certain pastimes of the Lord in this universe, four-headed Brahma, in one day of Lord Brahma. And if we expand the horizons of our consciousness, we'll realize that the Lord that's why he's called Ananta. He's infinite. His pastimes are unlimited. What we have been given to understand is just the pastimes in this universe in one day, in this day of Brahma. And you can multiply that by unlimited universes and by the unlimited life that Brahma has, in his lifespan. So that just gives us the grandeur of the pastimes that the Lord performs. And of course, just understanding these pastimes itself is enough for us to take us back to Godhead. So the pastime of Gajendra Moksha happened in the 4th Manvantara, where Tamasa was the Manu, Shibi was the Indra, King Shibi, and the Manvantara avatar was Hari, that is Lord who came to deliver Gajendra. In the 6th Manvantara, one Manvantara prior to our Manvantara, it was Chakshusha Manu, and King Manojava was the Indra, and the Manvantara avatar was Ajita, the Lord who came and held the Mandara mountain, so that the demigods and the demons could churn it. And in the 7th Manvantara, which is the current Manvantara, Vaivatsa Manu is our current Manu, and King Purandara is the current Indra. And the Manvantara avatar is the Vamana Deva avatar that this pastime talks about. And we all know how Bali Maharaj was not an ordinary person. He was the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. And Prahlad Maharaj was already blessed by Narasimhadev that 21 generations are liberated. So 10 generations before your generation and 10 generations below are liberated. So obviously he is coming in that lineage. He is the second in that generation after Prahlad Maharaj, or third, however you want to call it. So he's not an ordinary person. He's already blessed to be liberated as a liberated soul. So he obviously becomes the next Indra. In the 8th Manvantara, Bali Maharaj will become the Indra, and Daksha Savarni will be the Manu. And there is a mention of Sarvabhauma avatar of the Lord as the Manvantara avatar in that particular Manvantara. So just wanted to share this first point, that it's the whole pastimes of the Lord are so grand, and we usually think of our consciousness does not really expand beyond the immediate windows of time and space that we are conditioned or subject to. But Bhagavatam expands our horizons of our consciousness by making us realize how grand this whole stage is for the Lord. So that is one point I wanted to share. The second point I wanted to make was that Krishna is equal to all. Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita that that Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu Name Dveshto Name Priya. And Krishna says that I am equal to all. I do not envy anyone. I do not have any favorites. But of course, he also says that I am more inclined towards my devotees, obviously. But this particular pastime, why I wanted to share this point is, if you think about it, Krishna is giving this opportunity to be victorious to even the asuras. We know that this material world is designed with dualities. It is not the absolute world. The absolute world is the spiritual world. The material world is designed for dualities, which means we will experience pleasure, pain, success, failure, respect, disrespect, honor, dishonor. Every time we get attached to one of the two, the other one comes along. We cannot avoid that. Similarly, victory and defeat. So the ebb and flow of the different energies always will continue in this material world. That's why sometimes the demigods are victorious, sometimes the asuras are victorious. And Krishna does not interfere in that. It is the nature of this material world that this will happen. So when I read the description, of course I had read this many years ago, and then again I got a chance to read this in details. This chapter begins with the explanation of the city of Lord Indra, because Bali Maharaj reaches the city of Indrapuri, and then there is a description. Shukdev Goswami explains this beautiful city of Lord Indra and how Krishna allows or gives all the opulences, even if you want to enjoy the material world. That is something which I was contemplating, that even if we want material enjoyment, the Lord provides us. He's so loving and caring. He tries to fulfill any and every desire we have, as long as we have the correct credits to experience it. So you need to have the right kind of dharma. So in other words, if we are able to follow just the injunctions in the right way, Krishna can give us more and more and more. He is not against us enjoying. But of course there's a caveat which we'll talk about it. But the point is, when the description of the Indrapuri comes in the Bhagavatam, in this particular chapter, 15th chapter, it states that when Bali Maharaj was about to enter the kingdom, this city of Alakapuri, he saw that the whole city was fenced with like huge walls. There were walls of like gold, and the gates were ivory and gold. And as they entered, they saw that everything was so beautiful. The houses were having huge courtyards. There were trees which were completely blossoming with different types of flowers and fruits, the likes of which we probably have never seen on this earth. And there were beautiful birds sitting in pairs, and chirping on those birds. And there were the honeybees, and there were ponds, and they were full of swans and cranes and ducks. And from each house there was a very beautiful fragrance emanating, the emanance of aguru. And the flowers were like, the breeze was very gentle, and the whole atmosphere was so serene and peaceful and enjoyable to the senses, to all the senses, multiplied by probably 1,000 times what we experience in the material world. was available to Indra. And the Apsaras were dancing, the Gandharvas were singing, and the whole city was beautifully planned by Vishwakarma. The description even says that even the benches for people to sit on the parks in the city were made of diamond and coral, and the crossroads were made of pearls. So that is the opulence that Krishna is willing to give, if we do things right. So he's equal to all. Even if the soul has a certain what is called a sakam bhakti, they want to serve the Lord, but at the same time want some opulence. Krishna gives that opportunity. And what to speak of if you want to serve the Lord and enjoy opulence? Even if you just want to enjoy opulence but not serve the Lord, He still facilitates that. Right? And that is the concept of the Bilaswarga, the lower planetary systems, Tala, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. These are not hellish planets. That's not to be confused with hellish planets. Those are below the Patala Loka. But these subterranean lokas are actually, scriptures explain, are even more opulent than the Swarga Loka. So that just shows how benevolent Krishna is. Even if somebody has that asuric mentality, the difference between the Devas and the Danavas are Devas have material desires, but they want to serve the Lord. They want to help the Lord in the administration of this universe. The Danavas, they just want to enjoy. So even for them, the Lord provides all these facilities. Like Bali Maharaj himself was given the planet of Sutala, the third below the earth, for his opulence, and the Lord himself becomes a doorkeeper in the planet. So that's how we understand that the Lord is so benevolent, He is kind, He is equal to all. He is happy to fulfill the desires of every living entity. The only catch is that the more we engage in these type of desires and we are the desires are fulfilled, the two primary issues in that is that one is it is never enough, right? Even these positions like we have discussed, this is just a manvantara, like 72 cycles you get this position, you can administer, and then the whole government changes, the whole system changes. So, and you never feel it is enough. Like when we as eternal souls we never feel that we have lived enough. Even though the body changes, we never feel that, because consciousness is eternal. Bliss is inherent to the soul. Knowledge is inherent to the soul, but it's covered by the illusionary energy. So, because of this precarious situation, we get conditioned to whatever we are exposed to, the material existence. Whatever material condition we are exposed to, we get conditioned. Like so many examples are there. Lord Indra himself, he was cursed to become a pig. And when they were coming back to take him, he said, no, what happens to my kids? What happens to, my family in the body of a pig? Or for that matter, the illusionary energy is so strong that even if you have the best of things, you want something more. Again, the Lord Krishna uses Indra because that is the topmost position you can ever have, to explain that Indra had so many thousands of celestial damsels, dancing, and he could enjoy. But still, out of his uncontrolled lust, he got attracted to Ahilya, the wife of sage Gautama. And then he was cursed to get 1,000 holes, which later got converted to eyes. So it just shows that no matter how much ever material desires we have and how much ever desires Krishna fulfills, it is an insatiating, it's like a bottomless pit. That is the lesson to understand, that though Krishna is very kind and benevolent, it is not in our interest to try to just succumb to these dictations of the mind and the senses, because they will never ever be fulfilled. They'll never be satisfied. Even if you are given the topmost opulences of Indrapuri or any of the Bilas Vargas, it's not going to help, and it can continue. We can eternally be in the material world if that's what we desire, because Krishna does not touch our free will. That is his love for us. He wants the love to come naturally. And because he is Swarat and we are his parts and parcels, Mame Vamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Buddha Sanatana Manashastrani Indriyani Prakritistani Karshati. Because we are his parts and parcels, we also inherit the independence, the Swarata nature, but in minuscule scale. So within our own sphere, we are our own controllers, proprietors, enjoyers. That is what the proposition of this material world is, that Krishna wants us to experience being Krishna in a miniature situation, being the controller, proprietor and enjoyer of a very limited aspect of the world. So that is the first thing that happens. Even though Krishna is benevolent and he gives all these opulences, the problem is it can be very entangling. And the stronger the mind, the weaker the senses. So the more, and the other way around, the stronger the senses, the weaker the mind. So the more we fuel or feed the senses, the weaker the mind gets. And hence we do not have the bala. Like coming to today's point, we explain that, Prabhupada explains that it's the spiritual master's blessings which gives us the strength, the bala, to actually get out of this precarious situation. Because by ourselves, it's hard to comprehend how long we have been in this conditioned life. It may be just our first life as a human, second, third, billionth, we don't know. And we don't want to know. As long as we have the exit path visible to us, right? The only thing is, based on the past karmas and the extent of conditioning, it gets that much harder for the soul. That's why for some people, like we say, it just takes one holy name, one Shuddha Naam to get out of this material world. But why doesn't it come? Because we carry so many conditionings, the burden of the karmic reactions. A lot of it is prarabdha karma, which is already manifest, which cannot be changed. But of course, by the mercy of Guru, he wipes out all the other aprarabdha karma. Aprarabdha karma is the kind of body we got, the family we were born into, the time we were born into, the abilities, the mental, the physical abilities. It's all fixed in a given body, in a given lifetime. That cannot be changed. But all the karmic balance that we carry by the mercy of Guru is wiped out when we take the formal initiation. We know that. And that is how the strength starts coming. When we take the shelter of the Guru, the first strength awarded is the ability to, obviously we are expected to follow our vows of chanting the holy names, following the regulatory principles, serving the mission in whichever capacity we can. So even that ability, even that capacity to chant, to follow the regulatory principles, to serve, comes by the mercy of Guru. Because when we start our spiritual life, we do not have that level of strength. We all know how strong the material Maya Shakti is. And only those who genuinely struggle to control the senses understand how strong the senses are, right? If you, for the rest of the world, the material society, they don't even understand the power of the senses, because they just give in time and again, every minute of their life, they give in to the dictations of the mind and the senses. But for devotees, it's a constant battle, probably all the way till we die. The Maya Shakti will always be knocking at our door, asking, do you want something else? And sometimes it actually gives us more opulence in the life of devotees, just to see if we are really serious to come back to the spiritual world. And I don't have the scriptural reference, but I think I have heard this, that the soul is given the opportunity to see all these universes or all these lokas, and is asked, do you want to go any one of these places before, if you're not tempted, then you are taken back to the spiritual sky. So no temptation, abrahma stamba paryantam sarva maya mayam jagat. Every, from the top to the bottom, this whole universe has been created with illusionary happiness. And the soul has to either succumb or to circumvent this energy. And that is the strength. The strength that is required to do this comes from the mercy of Guru. So the bala that this purport is talking about obviously comes from the instructions of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Not everybody is fortunate to receive very personalized instructions of the Guru, but we have instructions of Srila Prabhupada, who is the Shiksha Guru of all of us. We are all Prabhupada Nugas, Rupa Nugas, Prabhupada Nugas. We are followers of Srila Prabhupada's teachings. He's our Acharya. And like Narasimha Prabhu mentioned, he just reminded me, today was the day when Prabhupada actually started his journey from India to come to the US. So it's a very auspicious day for us, definitely, because under the instructions of his Guru, he came and the rest is history. As he was empowered by the Lord to start this movement in probably one of the most unexpected places that it would be on earth, right? And his story itself shows how the bala of the spiritual master helps. Like he just took the Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitteta Kariya Aikya. He took the instructions of his spiritual master to his heart, that you can give this knowledge in the English language. So you write books and you go and preach to the Western world. So when Prabhupada was coming, some of the Indian people said, Swamiji, you want to go, you're an old person, you just want to go and visit the US. So he said, I am not going to the US. The Srimad Bhagavatam is going to the US. I am just carrying it with me. So that was Prabhupada's consciousness. He's just carrying the message of the Lord. So that is the bala. And anytime our life gets interjected with this association of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, that actually is very auspicious. What to say of the blessings of the Guru? Even the curse of the Brahmanas acts like a catalyst in the life of any living entity. So in this pastime, we see how Indra, the whole episode begins with Indra displeasing Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni offered a garland to Indra. He did not pay heed to it. He gave it to his elephant, and the elephant just trampled it. And Durvasa said that you are so puffed up with all this power and opulence that I curse you that you lose this. And that is why gradually, by the curse of the Brahmanas, the Munis and Rishis, Indra lost his power, and all the demigods, all the Danavas, they were able to defeat Indra. And hence Indra went to Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma took all the demigods to Shweta Deepa, where the Lord in his Shirodaksha Vishnu form resides, the ocean of milk. And then the Lord said, at this time, it's not appropriate for you all to fight. Just have a truce. And he asked Indra to go to Bali Maharaj and request him to join forces to do the Samudra Manthan. So that is how that pastime happens, where Samudra Manthan, and we all know how after that the Lord sided with the demigods, and in his beautiful form of Mohini Murti, he distributed the Amrit to the demigods. And after that, the demigods became powerful and they defeated Bali Maharaj and all the Asuras, to the extent that all of them were almost killed. Even Bali Maharaj was killed. But again, the same theme recurring, the mercy of the Guru, Shukracharya, his Guru, he chanted the Mrityu, what is that? Mrityu Sanjeevani mantra, where he revoked the life of Bali Maharaj and all the other Asuras. Because Bali Maharaj was very, his endeavors that he would always please his Guru, his endeavors would always please the Brahmanas, he received the Bala from his Guru. Shukracharya gave him, first of all, he brought him back to life. He also gave him the ability to perform the Vishwajita Yajna. As we read, the descendants of Bhrigu Muni, they performed sacrifices on behalf of Bali Maharaj, and they gave him the Brahminical powers, which equipped Bali Maharaj that he became so invincible that the moment he entered the Indrapuri, when they saw him coming, the Brahma Tejas was so overpowering that Indra felt that I cannot even fight. He immediately went to his Guru, Brihaspati, and asked him, what is this reason of, that is what it is. And then his spiritual master explains that he has actually received the Brahma Tejas of the descendants of Bhrigu Muni and the blessings of his Guru. So at this point in time, just flee, just run away. That was the instructions that Indra received from his spiritual master, that just run, don't even attempt to fight at this point in time. So that is how the instructions of Guru plays such an important role time and again in the life of everybody, especially devotees, those who are trying to gain spiritual advancement. And even the curse, I wanted to share this point, that even the curse of Guru, Sadhu or Shastra, curse meaning if you don't follow the Shastras, you will be bound to some kind of negative things that will happen. Or don't follow, or if you offend Guru or you offend Sadhu or Brahmanas, that actually attracts a certain kind of misfortune, but even that misfortune leads to the ultimate fortune. Like in the Vedic astrology, there is a particular type of yoga. It's called as Nicha Bhanga Raja Yoga, meaning there are certain planets which are supposed to be negatively disposition towards humans. But if they are placed like negative plus negative and negative makes it positive, that's the concept. So if they are placed in a certain combination, then those, even the bad planets give you the best of results. It's called Nicha Bhanga Raja Yoga. So something like that, when the curse of the Guru or the Sadhu or Shastras comes, even that acts as a catalyst. So the stories we hear is like when Narad Muni cursed Nalakuvera and Manigriva, what happened? What was the ultimate outcome? Even though they were trees, they got the direct darshan of the Lord in his baby form. Very few people get that kind of a darshan of the Supreme Lord in his baby form, crawling. Lord Shiva actually had to beg to Mother Yashoda, please give me the darshan of the Lord in this such a sweet form. And she made him wait. There is if you go to the courtyard in Vrindavan, in the courtyard of Nanda Bhavan, there is a separate temple of Lord Shiva, because he came as a sadhu and trying to take darshan of the Lord in the baby form. So the curse of Narad Muni gave Nala and Kuvera, who were just frivolous, the opportunity to have darshan of Lord Krishna in a very special, in the sweetest of forms, as a baby Krishna. The curse of Agatsya Muni to King Indradyumna gave him the opportunity to pray even in the form of an elephant and see the Lord face to face, the Lord Hari coming and delivering him. The curse of the sage Devala to Huhu, the Gandharva Huhu, gave him the opportunity to become a crocodile and be killed by the same Lord. The curse of the Sanat Kumaras gave Jay and Vijay the opportunity to enjoy or give the Lord the service of, the ability to fight with the Lord. Otherwise, whom will the Lord fight with in the Vaikuntha planets? The curse of Mother Parvati gave King Chitraketu, even though he became a demon, it gave him the opportunity to remember the Lord in his final moments. As Vritasura, we know the story of how the thunderbolt was actually continuously cutting his throat for 1,000 years. And he endured through that pain. And while he's enduring that pain, he's able to remember the pastimes and the instructions of the Lord. And of course, there is a story of got that Muni's name, Sutikshana Muni. This story comes in the Ramayana, where he is also a disciple of Agastya Muni. And when he was very young, very small boy, Sutikshana Muni started serving Agastya Muni in his hermitage. And because he was a very small boy, he was very dedicated. He was always contemplating on the appearance of Lord Ram, because it was around that time that he was born. And the story goes as one time Agastya Muni wanted to go to visit a pilgrimage place, and he was always serving his Shaligram Shilas. And Sutikshana Muni said, when he was a young boy, he said, "Can I serve your Shaligram Shilas while you are away? I'll take care of them very nicely." And Sutikshana, and with some discussion and a little bit of apprehension, Agastya Muni said, "Okay, I'll allow you to serve my Shaligram Shila." And he gave it to him. There were actually 2 Shaligram Shilas, and Sutikshana Muni started serving while Agastya Muni was away. And obviously, this is again the pastime in the Leela of the Lord. But in that, because he was a young boy, one day while he was carrying the Shilas in his hand, he saw a huge tree laden with the jamun fruits. I don't know, jamun it's an Indian gooseberry kind of thing. I don't know the equivalent of it, but it's very purple colored. It's a huge fruit. It actually looks like Shaligram Shila. It's a dark purple fruit. They call it jamun. He developed the urge to eat these fruits lying on the tree as a young boy, and he thought, I don't see any stone anywhere. So he started speaking to Lord Shaligram, saying that, "Can you help me get this fruit? Let me throw you there. You pluck some, and you have some, and I'll have some." So he actually threw one Shaligram towards that jamun, and it missed it, and it went and dipped in the river on the other side of the tree. And being a young boy, he thought, "Oh, I missed it, but I think the other one can definitely do it." So he prayed to Shaligram that, "Please, this time you help me get those jamun, and I'll serve you also. I'll give you also the fruit." So he threw the second one, and this time 2 or 3 jamuns fell down, but Shaligram went and dipped in the river. And Sutikshana Muni became, as a young boy, he realized what he had just done. And he thought, what should I do now? When Agastya Muni comes back, how do I really, what do I tell him? So he takes those jamuns, and out of fear, like, typically how kids behave when they do something wrong, they will try to hide it, use their limited intelligence to do it. So he tried to hide it by actually decorating those jamuns like Shaligram Shila, with the tulsi leaves and the chandan and everything, and he kept it on the altar. And when Agastya Muni came back, Agastya Muni asked, how did you take care of the deities? He said, "Very well, Guru Maharaj, you can see they are doing well." And when Agastya Muni started to perform you usually press the Shaligram Shila with chandan, and he started, suddenly that seed popped out, and he was like, what is, he just asked Sutikshana Muni. He said, he tried to, give different reasons, but he realized. And Agastya Muni became so angry. He said, "How could you do that?" He said, "I curse you that you will, today I ban you from my hermitage, and you have to get out of my ashram and live in the wilderness until you get the Lord back to me." So that is a curse he gives to Sutiksha Muni. And then cut to this pastime when Lord Ram is actually passing through Dandakaranya. Sutiksha Muni is waiting for the Lord to come, and he meets Lord Ram and says, I will take you to the hermitage of Agastya Muni. And then when he goes, he falls flat at the feet of Agastya Muni and said, you asked me to get the Lord back. So look, I have got the Lord back to you, as Lord Ram. So that is amazing. Again, explains how even the curse of the even if you don't get blessings, whatever you get from Guru is always good. It acts as a catalyst in our life. So those were some of the things I wanted to share. In conclusion, I just wanted to share that all of us, like Prabhupada explains in the Guru Parampara, the power comes through the Parampara. We all, by some great fortune, have been given the chance to plug into that source. Like the analogy that comes to my mind is that of, we all use electric power at home. So how do we connect to that power? We don't see the source of that power. I don't know how power is generated in Texas, maybe through some nuclear plant, some thermal plant, some wind, solar, whatever, I don't know. But we don't see the source of the energy or the power, but we see a plug inside our house. We can see that, and we connect to that plug, and then all the devices are charged, right? So the Guru is like that plug. We can see the Guru, we cannot see the Lord, but we can plug ourselves into the connection of the Guru, and then that wherever the source of energy, it comes through us. And hopefully we continue to charge ourselves to the extent that we ourselves, like when the energy comes from the source to the house, it usually loses its power or energy. That's why there are transformers. There are electrical lines, and there are transformers which amplify that energy till it reaches your house. So we should pray to our Guru Parampara that it charges us enough that we also become transformers, so that we can charge more souls back on their journey back to Godhead. So that's what I want to share. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes, sorry.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for a very ecstatic class. And it's almost mystical that it's an extension of yesterday's class. Prabhupada Priya was speaking about, Baladev and Guru's Bala. And today's verse is exactly on that topic. So that was very beautiful. When we were seeing Bali Maharaj's example, and I was also just reading through, so coming back to the point where when he died or almost died, then Narada Muni is saying, take Bali to Shukracharya. And then Shukracharya, brought him back to life, and so he became his guru. And even in the verses before, it's saying that Prahlad Maharaj was there, present, and he garlanded Bali Maharaj and encouraged him to go fight. So the first thing is, like, he's fighting to get the kingdom of Indra, which seems like, okay, this is not yours. Why are you fighting for this? And looks like Shukracharya and Prahlad Maharaj, everybody's encouraging him to do that. And then later, it seems like he lost everything because he did not obey Shukracharya. And he's like, okay, the Brahmanas, we have to be very careful. So in our example, in our lives, as practicing, trying to be devotees, do we have a separation of who Brahmanas are that, like he tried to please Vishnu, but he disobeyed the Brahmanas. So are the Brahmanas something separate in our lives, in our instances, that we have to like, okay, he's a Brahmana versus he's a devotee who's encouraging us to...
Yeah, I can share I'm not obviously at the level where I can give you the highest, but within my limited capacity, my 2 cents on this, Mataji. Actually, I had very similar doubts in my mind. Exactly what you said. Like, in one sense, if you think about it, it says, before I can answer you real quick, it says that people who are lusty, like Sukdev Goswami mentions this, that people who are lusty or greedy, or they cannot enter the higher planetary systems. So I was thinking then, how come they are not lusty, but they have all the facilities with which they can exhibit those, right? So it is a little bit, sometimes gets a little bewildering as to how to understand these. But my 2 cents on this is, that's why I actually thought of this point, that Krishna is so kind and benevolent that even if we have the slightest of desires for something, he is willing to fulfill that. Especially the more we serve him, the more he feels obliged to give us something. He actually, he gives himself the last. He will first say, okay, you did this for me, can I give you this in return? Don't ask me. Only when we are able to succumb all that. That's why, in one sense, these personalities are not considered as Shuddha Bhaktas. They are considered as Sakama Bhaktas, right? Even Bali Maharaj, yes, he was a descendant, but in this particular pastime, he still has to go to Sutala and enjoy, and then again became Indra. So it's like so much of opulence he is being showered upon. So in that sense, for us, coming back to our, I would say, our situation, I take it this way, that we don't know. We probably have experienced all this before. But this is, and because even after all these, you probably have to come back, this material world, to the human form, to be tested, because this is the testing arena. What we experience in the heavenly or the lower planets is just a reaction. It's basically you are awarded something, but your test of your consciousness is this realm of material, of earth, where there is karma. There's no karma on the other planets, right? It's all a straight functioning of the will of the Lord, if you think about it that way. So I feel that for us, because this is a testing arena, we should not compare it one to one with these stories, because it's a different realm altogether. As far as we are concerned, obviously for us the safest state of consciousness is to consider ourselves to be lower than the lowest, like Gopi Bhartul Padakamalayur, Dasa 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 Das. We don't even, intellectually, yes, we can try to define somebody who is at the Brahmanical, like Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, right? What is a Brahmin? Somebody who is Satyavadi, who always speaks the truth, who does Patan, Yajan, Yajan, who always studies about and then teaches about the Lord to the others, who is selfless, who has control over his mind and senses, right? So that is one way of looking at somebody as a Brahmana. Does somebody have it? In Kali Yuga, if you think about it, the first quality given about a Brahmana is he never speaks a lie. It's so difficult in Kali Yuga to find somebody who has never spoken a lie. And that is why nobody's curses work in Kali Yuga, if you think about it. Because when you actually perform that austerity to never speak a lie, your words come true. Because you always speaken the truth. That's why the sages, whatever they curse, will happen. Because they actually got that power through that austerity. So in Kali Yuga, Brahminical powers will be limited. Thankfully, nobody can curse us, and that will not work on us. But that is my 2 cents, Mataji, that, of course, we know that a Vaishnava means he's already going beyond even the 4 Varna ashramas, right? He's on the runway. He's already reached the airport, he's on the runway, and his flight is ready for takeoff. So he's not worried about the city which he's about to leave. So the administration of the city with the head of the society, the legs of the society, doesn't matter to him anymore. He's going to fly beyond it. That is my 2 cents, Mataji. Be good? we are beyond time. Sorry, any other thoughts? Okay, thank you so much. The Prabhupada ki jai.